First of all, this is not me telling you what the best game songs are. This is not me making a tier list. This is not me making a video addressing who is the best video game musical composer. None of that. I'm making this video because I want to show people songs that I like that just so happen to also be from a video game. And sometimes people don't realize that I'm listening to video game music, and that's weird. It should be pretty obvious that I'm listening to video game music because I'm questing in real life. Anyways, yeah, so the idea came to me that I just wanted to listen to some of my favorite video game music, but I wanted to share that experience with you, the viewer, or anybody who chooses to click on this video. But it makes it kind of complicated because I'm going off of memory and I want to do at least 5 songs. And I think I've thought of every song that I want to do. However, my knowledge of video game music doesn't run super deep. So, of course, you have your Spyro, and I forget who wrote some of the Spyro. I think it was Sting or the Police did Spyro. The band The Police did Spyro, um, which is super cool. You have, uh, Mick Gordon, who does Doom now, 2016, and Eternal. Fantastic, by the way. There, I have a whole entire music video, a bunch of different musicians that I cut together and made a tribute fan cam of Doom because I love Doom. But there are so many other bands that I don't do that for, and I listen to a lot of anime music. I like anime music. I think it's very cheerful a lot of the time. It can be very positive. It can be very bouncy, and I enjoy that. I like listening to Flow, for instance, which did uh Naruto season 3? Was it season 3? Everybody, let me know. We are fighting heroes. That one. Um yeah. So in no particular order, this is I'm gonna play clips and then I'm gonna kind of talk about it after. Do one of those things where it goes down. Yeah, it'll be cool. Number 1, Tonic. I love music. I have. Yeah, the Persona 5 soundtrack for me really opened the door for enjoying jazz again. I grew up in New York, specifically the west side of New York, and there was, if you went north a bit, there was quite a big jazz scene for quite a while. New York blues, New York jazz, and jazz clubs and things like that. In the later years, it's kind of slowed down, but this kind of dropped those roots back on me, and I really enjoyed Persona 5, and it's become a big listen in my Spotify playlist, so I highly recommend that if you're a fan of Persona, you give this one a chance. I love music. I would say Persona 5 has got probably peak bangers in my opinion. But other games have some pretty crazy OSTs, so let's hop into the next one. So this is Ryan Roth. Ryan Roth, I think, is probably one of the greater video game composers, in my opinion. He did the game Void Bastards. He did Riverbond and a few other games as well, but I think Void Bastards is one of his magnum opuses, or her, I don't know, their magnum opuses. It's this very great use of things like the blues music, which is we're listening to Krell Steel Frigate, or Freight Blues, in space. So you get a lot of droning, you get a lot of held notes, you get a lot of ambience, deteriorating background noise, but at the same time you're getting a lot of very clean aesthetic blues structured noises, and the music is actually very in depth and deep and well written, and I really enjoy a lot of it. I think Ryan Roth created something that was both unnecessarily uncomfortable and super good. No, stop, Spectrum. I have to edit this now.
And now is the time.
I don't know, the way that he plays with sound is just really fascinating to me. I really like how Ryan Roth plays with sounds. But I also don't think that Ryan Roth is creating something that is particularly something that you would want to sit down and listen to. I own a couple OSTs. I own the Life is Strange OST, Persona 5 OST. I own Persona 4 OST, Void Bastards OST, quite a few other OSTs. But I never felt like Ryan Roth was something that I wanted to sit down and blast. Like, it's really good, but it's really good. Yeah, check out Void Bastards OST. Let me know what you guys think down below. If Ryan Roth belongs here, definitely, in my opinion, Ryan Roth belongs here. Fantastic creator. The next one is the Policenauts End of the Dark extended cut. This is one particular song from Policenauts, which is a Hideo Kojima game for the PS1, by the way. Policenauts is one of those games where the music just absolutely banged the entire game. And this is like a 100+ hour game. This is not a game that you're just gonna pop in and beat in the afternoon. This is a game that you leave your PlayStation on because I don't think you can save very often, and it just stays on, and it's this 80s awesome stylings from Hideo Kojima in this dark, gritty fantasy future apocalyptic landscape. I don't want to ruin this game, but I don't know who did the Policenauts OST. Very rarely. Oh, it was produced by Motokai Furukawa, or Tappy. So, this is one that you might have to explore on your own. It just bangs. I hate these ads so much. Oh, I love this one so much. Obviously, I was going to put a Legend of the Zelda on the list. I have to put up a version of something on this. This is from Legend of Zelda's Wind Waker. It's been modified since Dragon Roost Village and carried into Breath of the Wild and then carried into Tears of the Kingdom. And you hear this song being played when you enter the Rito village during the Frozen segment before you free everybody from the clutches of the blizzard. And my first time hearing it, it was just this absolute nostalgic rush. I deeply appreciate when a developer has like these very strange intros, I don't know, and things connect and they're being discussed on a wider scope, and it's music. I don't know. There was something about the Tears of the Kingdom OST where some of it was fan-fucking-tastic. Some of it was shit. This is a banger. Doesn't want me to hold on to that one. Next! So this one's a little bit rarer, if I'm not mistaken. I actually have a full playthrough of Samurai Champloo Sidetracked on my my gaming channel, Zephyrian. One of the things that stood out to me so much during Samurai Champloo Sidetracked is the audio. I don't know if there is a complete OST playlist available. I can never find it. If anybody wants to get that sorted out, I'd appreciate it. Because Samurai Champloo Sidetracked actually has a lot of really influential games. I loved Samurai Champloo as a kid, and it later led me to enjoying things like FLCL and other things by Samurai Champloo's creator, which is a lot, by the way. Loved the music. It was like this really cool what if traditional Japanese had hip-hop and rap culture, and I don't know, the sound combination to me, especially as a kid, really influenced my perception of how music could be formed. Similarly to those of you who grew up listening to more of like an India the place, culture music, and you grew up using different string notations and different notes as your representation of your music, because that's a thing. Different cultures use different sounds. Like how anime uses a specific beat versus... We don't have to get into it. Samurai Champloo is just always right there, and I loved so much of it. So if anybody can get the full OST, super good. So now we're getting into something a little bit crazier. This is Whack Him from the Max Payne playlist. I think this is from the multiplayer mod. I'm not sure. But Max Payne is another one of those games where there's just not actively like a OST playlist that is easily accessible. I know the OST is separated. This guy did it, Omni Congelar. But I love the Max Payne soundtrack. I remember, I think it was the cemetery scene. I don't think the wave of enemies ends, but I used to just hold out because I liked the cemetery song a lot during the cemetery fight. Yeah, the music from Max Payne really left a long-lasting legacy with me. It's like this 90s house rock. It's really good. Like, that's banging. Next. So this is one of those things where I don't 100% know the legality of me using, so I'm going to try to talk over this because this is transformative work. Do not attempt to copyright strike this because it is a review and opinion and a use of it in a transformative way. This is Pokemon Gold and Silver. Now, the Wind Ensemble did a medley orchestral version, and this is something that I have seen done quite often. A lot of popular content in some areas gets transitioned into being made into a small show for a local scene. And I went and saw a local, I think it was like a 13-person group or a 16-person group, and they performed Pokemon Gold and Silver Orchestral. And it was jank, but I loved it. It was the nerdiest thing I had ever went and done. It was super fun. I believe it was done alongside a college's convention. But it was a banger, and I highly recommend it. Oh, you gotta listen to it for yourself. It's so good. Janice Kwan, is that her name? Janice Kwan? Yeah, Janice Kwan. So I'm sure a lot of people don't know what Tunic is. So Tunic is a top-down, I don't believe it's roguelike. I think it's Zelda-like, Metroidvania style PC game. I don't know what else it's on. But the music was what sold me. I haven't played this on my channel just yet. I do have plans on playing it. From what I have read, it's a little bit longer than you would think. Oh, but apparently Janice Kwan went through, and there's just like a ton of music for this game. And every time I go back and I look for more Janice Kwan music, it is banging. Just gorgeous piano work, gorgeous wind work, percussive, doesn't matter. It's always so good. It's like this almost Zelda lo-fi, but completely its own. Oh, and you get like that nice, almost dark New York style piano along with it, and you don't lose that fantasy. I love it. I think it's so good. Tunic is so good. I highly recommend. This is one I've talked about 1,000 times. Yeah, Neon White. Oh my god. Machine Girl did the soundtrack for Neon White, which is one of Annapurna's peak games, if you ask me. Annapurna is my favorite game studio as of right now, and Machine Girl came out and dropped this OST, and it's been one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It's just an absolute must go listen to. It is so bizarre, it's all over the place, it's so good. This is something that you could throw on at a party and no one would know the difference. So you could be vibing out to some Neon White's OST and they're just vibing out to some sweet music. Oh. So good. But we need to keep going. Before we keep going, I just wanted to clarify that I recognize that a lot of games have soundtracks that you might not want to listen to regularly, that are still bangers. I think Skyrim has a lot of songs that are extremely well composed and are wonderful to listen to in the context of being in Skyrim. However, when I listen to them out of Skyrim, it just doesn't have the same aesthetic. When I listen to things from Fallout, I think of Fallout, they become synonymous, and I don't like that sometimes they lean too heavily on, well, video games in general lean in on like already existing music. Borderlands did this, even though The Heavy and Cage the Elephant are two of my favorite bands of all time. They're very oddly representative of Borderland fans, and I find that strange because Cage the Elephant does a lot of deeper writing, a lot of you need to think about the song we wrote because there's levels of sadness, there's levels of grief, there's a level of happiness, acceptance, and maybe worry written into his words. And The Heavy is very much a movement, it's a belief, it's jazz, it's funk, it's crazy, it's rock, it's all over the place. But at the end of the day, he's singing about real life issues and things that people need to wake up from and realize that the world around them is kind of chaotic. And when I think of video games that incorporate what I would consider licensed music, sure, it absolutely works. You know, when you play things like Need for Speed Underground 2, it works. When you play things like anything that has a radio, essentially, like it works. A lot of now indie developers use, you know, freely available licensed, once licensed music, things like that. And I think that's great, and it definitely has its place, but I wanted to make this to showcase music that might not be listened to very often by regular people. Some of these channels don't have a lot of hits. You know, Machine Girl only has 8.1 K views on their video, and that's kind of wild to me. Some of these songs had even less than that. Yeah, this was completely off the top of my head. I do have one last one I want to show for the very end, but I hope some of these were like, oh yeah, these can go on my playlist and I can bop to these, or you're willing to try out these games just for their soundtrack. Like Neon White, you move at the pace of the music. Like it's fast for a reason. And you can learn so much more about how important music is to an overall game. You wouldn't play something like Devil May Cry if the entire thing was this super soft violinist, you know, performance. You wouldn't play it if it was the Shadow of Colossus playlist. You know, it just wouldn't fit with that game. You wouldn't play Sunset Overdrive to, you know, a completely different game's soundtrack. These are games that have music made for them because the music is 100% a part of the art and the experience that is the game. So when you listen to that music, it becomes a little piece of what emotionally connects you to that game. And some people don't experience that, and some people don't understand that, and that's a little sad. But movies are starting to do it. Movies have done it for a long time, where you have movie original soundtracks and things like that. So, you know, this is kind of like a weird crossover point. But I don't watch television. I haven't watched television in years. I only watch occasional anime. But let's get on to the very last one next. Hotline Miami 2, everybody. The last one I chose. Bops, dude. The reason why I chose Hotline Miami 2 for the very last one is because Hotline Miami 2 is divisive. It's divisive amongst fans, it's divisive amongst non-fans. The audio, the music, everything is very unique to Hotline Miami 2, and I think the OST sells that very well, where you listen to something like Divide from Hotline Miami, and it's fantastic. It's a peak song in my opinion. I was gonna do Disturbance, but I remember that like Hotline Miami 2 does this thing where it's like retro 80s Florida house, techno, influence from Europe and things like that, but it does it in a way that's very Hotline Miami 2, where it's slower, it's easier to listen to, it's more modernized, but it does backbeats that are fast, and there's just something about Hotline Miami 2 that you could just turn up and hear the beat, you can hear the sub hit, and it's just a vibe. It's not something that you would dance to, it's just this awesome vibe. Anyway, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys don't mind this low effort video. I just really wanted to talk about some really cool music that I think has kind of fallen underneath the radar. I don't know who made all of these songs. I don't know every music for video games. I don't know what's best. I don't know what's worst. Did I talk about something that you like? Let me know down in the comments below. If you have suggestions for me or other people, leave them down below. Again, none of these are superior to one or the other. These are just game music that I remember off the top of my head that were very influential in my life and were the songs that were some of the songs that pushed me into enjoying music a lot more from things that I really deeply enjoyed, like Hotline Miami 2, The Legend of Zelda, etc. And you'll find remixes of these songs all over the place. There's people rapping over songs, there's people making metal versions of songs. I've played around with these songs even in my Let's Plays by taking some of the original OST work and turning off music that I don't like in games and incorporating my own music into it by taking a different OST and placing it into a spot that I felt like it would fit more. I feel like developers and game creators are starting to get that down. They're getting that emotion down. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some awesome Let's Plays. Subscribe to my other channel, Zephyrian. We are currently doing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom playthrough, and I'm about to record some Roller Drome. Oxenfree just came out. The entire edit, I think it's about 3 hours long. Fantastic game. Somerville hit very well. Somerville is a fantastic game. The edit lost a lot of its quality, so the live stream is the place to watch it. But either way, I recommend Somerville. Whoever you watch it from, I know Jacksepticeye did a playthrough of it, and it was very good. So, yeah, with that, I'll see you guys later, with more whatever the fuck this is. Bye.